What is up, guys? Welcome back to episode 4 of the 1989 RM250 build, otherwise known as the How to Build a Dirt Bike video series. My name is Charles, owner of mXrevival and mXrevival.com, and I sincerely hope you've enjoyed episodes 1 through 3. The content style has been sort of rapid fire, sort of like a reality show, which is not my typical style of content creation, so it's really cool to see the positive feedback from you guys on the past 3 episodes. Thank you very much. And if you guys are waiting on a reply from me on one of the first 3 episodes, I promise I'll reply soon. We've been getting crushed with a move. I got really sick. As you can see, we're in a completely new space. The lighting is bad. And so we're moving into the new shop today. I really hope to have a tour for you guys by next weekend. I want to get all the tools set up, all the bikes in here, get some good lights going on. Having said all that, I'd like to go ahead and get into episode 4 of the 89 RM250 build series. And I want to start by announcing a giveaway winner from last week's DecalWorks graphics giveaway. So Double R Gary and I asked you guys to let us know what your craziest or best dirt bike story was. I went ahead and picked a comment from a channel called Life on the Road with Jeff. Jeff, I loved your comment. So let's check out Jeff's winning comment. First off, I want to say I enjoy your videos. I remember my first motocross race. It was either in 74 or 75. That's a long ass time ago. It was 10 years before I was born. OMC back then, it was known as Peaceful Cove in Boise, and they had high school motocross races. I raced my Kawasaki Enduro in the 100 class. There were 3 of us in the class. First moto I got second, and the second moto I got first for the overall win, and I got a trophy that was 4 feet tall. Fast forwarding to today, 2 weeks ago I was at OMC with my son who was racing over 40 expert class. One of his friends told me he wasn't going to race on Sunday and that I could race for him, and so I did. So at the age of 62, I raced the over 40 novice class and came in dead last in both motos, and I loved it. That was my first motocross race since the 1980s, so I just thought that was really cool. It just fully embodied why we love motocross, riding, racing so much. And I also learned something about OMC, which is one of our local tracks here, coincidentally. So Jeff, awesome job and congratulations on snagging one of our DecalWorks graphic sets for the 89 RM250. I'm gonna go ahead and reply to your comment in episode 3 with a contact link, so be sure to get at me so we can go ahead and get you picked out which set you like the best, and I'll get those sent to you. And I gotta say, there were definitely some runner-up comments. Everybody that posted on episode 3, I really appreciated it. I really enjoyed reading your stories. Tyler's was really funny about the crash. You guys go check them out if you want to. Now, following up that giveaway win, we're gonna go ahead and do another comment giveaway right now. I still have 2 sets of our DecalWorks graphics to give away to you guys. If you wanna have a better look at these decals, you can do one of 2 things. You can either go watch episode 1 where I touch on it briefly, or you can check out the mXrevival Instagram at mXrevival. I did a reel and I showed you all 3 sets super in depth. That'll give you a better idea which set you might like if you win. So for this week's comment giveaway, I want you guys to tell me what is your earliest interaction with dirt bikes, your earliest dirt bike memory. Everybody has one. For me, it was a 1977 XR75. It was my first bike. My uncle got it for me and it didn't have an engine. And at the time I was really, really little. So we figured we'll find an engine and put it in there. Years and years and years passed. I ended up being 6 foot tall, 180 pounds. I was just way, way older. Finally get an engine right. Now I'm too big for the bike. And for whatever reason, it didn't run right. So one of our neighbors took it apart and realized, and I didn't even know what these things were called at the time, there was no clip on the needle inside of the carburetor. So the needle was just sitting down in the main jet and the bike couldn't run. He made a washer out of cardboard, which eventually disintegrated. And during that time, while the bike ran for a few minutes, I just remember one of the neighbor kids getting on it, firing it up, the throttle getting stuck wide open, and him tearing right down the street through some poor old lady's front yard, and he did a cartwheel in her front yard and the foot pegs ripped up everything. You'll have to excuse the leaf blower, the show must go on. Anyways guys, that is one of my earliest memories of dirt bikes, if not the earliest. Kind of a funny one. And so let's go ahead and get into today's video, episode 4, 1989 RM250 build. We are going to start out by drilling, tapping, and repairing some blown out threads in the frame of our 89 build. Then we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the engine, pull off all of our covers, get those ready to take in for coating. And then finally, we're gonna take all of our parts down to fast blast and coat to see Dean, where they're gonna get refreshed, repower coated, Cerakoted, all that stuff. So guys, I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you very much for watching, and it'll be a nice break from the leaf blower. What is up guys? Welcome back to episode 4 of the 1989 RM250 build. Straight away guys, we have some frame repair to do. You guys may remember episode 1, I talked about fixing these damaged threads for the seat, damaged threads for the airbox, and then also pulling the covers off of our vapor blasted engine so I could get all this stuff over to Dean at Fast Blast and Coat in Boise, get these Cerakoted, get the frame powder coated. And I actually would have done that with you in an earlier episode, but I was waiting on a tool, and specifically this tool here. I need this to repair the busted threads. It's basically a helicoil kit for metric applications. So today you and I are going to start by selecting the proper size helicoil and fixing both of these seat bolts. One of them is actually blown out so badly that I'm gonna have to go to the bolt size, which is an M10, which is basically a shock bolt. So this thing has been hogged out by the previous owner to the point where the size I would like to use, the M8, which would be about appropriate for that, is just, it's too far hogged out. So I'm not going to be able to use an M8. M10 is overkill. It is not the size you would normally find in a dirt bike. It's going to work for us. Don't really like it. Now I could, if I wanted to or had more time or felt like doing it, have these welded, filled in, and then re-drilled and re-tapped down to as small as an M6 if I would like to. And an M6 is the basic 8mm head bolt you find kind of all over dirt bikes in general. But for the sake of keeping it moving, I'm not too concerned about it. M10 it is, so we're gonna start by selecting, and this is a really cool kit, guys. It was like 30 bucks on Amazon if you need one. Selecting the proper drill bit for the M10. So every little slot here has the drill bit, then it has the tap, then it has the helicoil insert tool, then it has a little insert tab breaker tool. There's an insert that the helicoil tool holds the insert by. And then of course you have this pack of helicoil inserts themselves. So you guys can see the little tab in there. The tool has a slot, and this is basically gonna go like this. Once we're all tapped, this is how the tool sets the actual helicoil in place. So we're gonna go ahead and start. Get that M10, or what would be used to tap the M10 drill bit. Then we're gonna get it up close and personal with this bad boy. Go ahead and start drilling that out. Add a little bit of waterproof grease on there, just keep everything lubricated. And that is an absolutely terrible sound. Guys, I'm also wearing safety glasses. You can't see them, but there we go. Next up, we're gonna need our tap so we can actually thread this hole. Then we'll be able to install the insert. Throw a little bit of waterproof grease on there as well. And kind of start these by hand. And now normally these would come with sort of, I would say, a T-handle that clamps onto this square here. You can spin it by hand. You would see those in most tap kits, but that's something that this kit didn't come with. So we're gonna improvise today. You could probably get away with a crescent wrench, something like it. You just wanna make sure that everything is going in straight. And normally the T-handle will give you a lot of control over where the bit is going, what direction it's cutting as it threads. So just take your time, no need to rush. Go ahead and throw this on its side. It will be a little easier for me. Looks good, looks straight all around. It's intersecting this plate perfectly. This is a nice sharp bit. It's making quick work of this situation. Every once in a while you can back up if you feel it start to bind. Kind of relieves the threading process a little bit. And that grease that you put on this bit catches all the shavings and the flutes. Now we've made our way all the way through. We are threaded. We can back this sucker out and go ahead and throw one of our helicoils in. You can also throw a drill on here if you want and spin it out more quickly. Probably even thread it that way from the very beginning if you wanted. And there we go. Probably tough to see on the GoPro, but we have a nice threaded hole. A massive M10 threaded hole, unfortunately, but it'll get the job done. We'll go ahead and clean this a little bit with some brake cleaner because I would like to put some Loctite on the outside of this insert. Make sure it holds through the test of time. Let's go find some Loctite. I also think that once this is powder coated, it is red thread locker. Yes, I think once it's powder coated, that's also going to help hold these inserts in more permanently. So we've got one of our inserts, we've got the tool. The little tab or tang on the end of this thing is going to go in the very bottom. Hit the sucker with a little bit of red Loctite. That's actually a lot, which is fine with me. And then we're going to send her in. Now I'm going to set this guy up just about flush, just below flush actually. We've got a little bit hanging out the back there. Shouldn't interfere with the rear fender too bad. And thankfully from the factory we have these square, I guess you'd call them nuts, what used to be threaded before someone blew it out. There's a little bit more meat there than just this thin flange. If it was just the thin flange, we'd probably have to do something else, maybe a riv nut.
Haven't used one of those, but I'd like to try sooner or later. Then our next step is going to be to take this little breaker tool here. And what do you know? We have a hammer right here. It's like they say, every tool is a hammer, unless it's a screwdriver, then it's a chisel. People hate that. There goes the little tab. Now when I broke that tab off, it sort of opened up this little helical spring, so I'm gonna go ahead and snip that off. We just don't have enough material there to keep all that in order. I don't think it'll be a big deal if we give this a little nibble. Yay, now we can use the shock bolt to hold our seat on. That one went fast because the hole was already 10 times bigger than it was supposed to be. Grease up our tap, do it again. Easy, it's fun, and I will link this tool below for you guys. Alrighty, all good there. Rinse and repeat, little brake clean, a little insert, a little Loctite, a little install. I'm gonna hold off on the tab braking. I'm gonna let this one set up a little bit longer than I did the first one. Clean up some of this mess as we go. We've got one more to fix. We've actually got a snapped off bolt in the frame as well. Oh, there goes my tool. And don't worry guys, I know you're eyeballing the engine too. Over here on this sick engine stand, we're gonna be pulling the covers on this in just a few more minutes. All right, so here's what we're working with on this particular broken thread. These two tabs right here hold the air box forward, and this sucker just snapped off. At some point, I acquired the bike this way. Now the stud's protruding a little bit on this side, and it's actually recessed a little bit on this side, so I have a couple different ways I could go about doing this. But since I know I want to fix this to M6 size, which is what it is now, and since the hole isn't blown out, I'm actually going to be able to. It'd probably be smart of me, rather than trying to drill through the center of this and extract the broken bolt, I can use this recessed end where it isn't in all the way as a pilot and let it just guide this bit all the way through, and it will just eat that snapped off piece of bolt while it does that. I think that'll be the easiest way to do it on this one. So go ahead and grease up that tool supplied bit for the M6 insert, and then we will get to work. Had to switch up the angle a little bit here. There she is. Now I've got out all the M6 size stuff here, the breaker, the install tool, the helicoil itself. Same stuff guys. Grease the flutes. Start the tap. Use a smaller all 16ths on this one. Looking good, nice and straight. There it is. We are through. I'm gonna use the drill to get it out this time. Much faster. All right, reposition this sucker. Insert tool, helicoil, Loctite, install our insert, and that one actually fits perfectly front to back, so that's really nice. It's more factory than the seat bolts with those longer inserts. My favorite part about this one is it's actually the right size. We're gonna be able to put an M6 piece of hardware in there. Very cool. All right, so this thing is great, worth every penny. Glad to have it in the arsenal. Set her aside. Let's get into this engine and start cracking the covers off of this thing. Now guys, this is my Metro Lakes engine stand. We actually carry these on my website, mXrevival.com. This stand kicks so much ass, it's not even funny. You can rock the engine back and forth. This pivot here, as you can see, you can rotate it, do whatever you need to do. You can spin this thing upside down if you want. And of course the 360, who doesn't love that? Anyways, we're gonna get our ignition cover off. We're gonna get our power valve covers off. And we're gonna get our primary clutch cover off. Now on these 89s, they didn't have a secondary cover that came off the clutch here. It's just all one piece. And I'm pretty sure the year after, 90 or 91, they swapped that out to what we know it to be today, where there's a primary cover and then a secondary cover, the small round one. But we need to get these to Dean so he can clean them up. Obviously, you may remember from previous videos, we vapor blasted this thing whole, we plugged it up. We only did the center cases, cylinder, and the head. And Dean's gonna do the rest with the coatings, and that's gonna tie this whole thing together and make it look brand new again without taking it apart all the way. So let's go ahead and start with some low-hanging fruit. We'll do this power valve cover. Oh, please don't strip. All right, we got it. Very good. Need to do a glove swap. We're starting to work with oily crap. All right, so off comes this cover. Not too bad in there, looks pretty good. Thought it was gonna be gnarly and oily. I'd also like to point out there is not one single glass bead in there. A lot of you guys were asking on Instagram, but the way I look at it is, if you're out riding, do you get a bunch of dirt and stuff inside your engine? Water? All right, next we'll do this front cover, power valve cover, top of the cylinder. And for those of you who missed it in previous episodes, all this hardware is ruined, and we expected it to be ruined. So the idea is to vapor blast everything and then use a brand new Bolt motorcycle hardware engine fastener kit to clean everything up. We're also going to do a new top end in this thing too. That way we can remove these cylinder studs since they got scorched on the tops, and all these cylinder head studs, replace or replate them, and then everything will be completely replaced. You'll never know this thing wasn't taken apart to get clean. This cover's stuck on there. There we go. Looking good. No beads in there. That's what we like to see. And wow, this power valve is extremely clean. It actually looks brand freaking new. I feel like I got really lucky on this bike anyways when I bought it. Just, you guys have seen the process so far. Very minimal things wrong with it for an 89. That looks so good in there. Need to remove this power valve spring setup as well, this power valve adjuster, because this is a steel plate, and of course we scorched it when we vapor blasted everything. Now this is under spring tension. It's rotated a certain amount per the manual, so I've already taken a photo of that. Just kind of indexed where it was. Now we can actually get this replated and all fixed up with the rest of the zinc parts. I was expecting it to spin, surprised it didn't. That's the spring that holds the tension on the power valve from opening and closing, sort of where it actuates, how soon, how late, depending on where you spin that dial. There you go, it was just a little bit sticky. All right, now we are into engine covers, and this thing has been oil drained a little while ago. 3 bolts instead of 4. Oh, we got some water coming out of there. Oh, that doesn't look very nice. I think it's been taking on water, moisture for a little while. I'm sure the vapor blaster didn't help. Water usually gets in through here, and oh, there's even a little hairline crack in that piece of rubber. So we'll go ahead and pull this stator off before we're officially done with this thing, just to make sure it's clean, but certainly wasn't caused by the vapor blaster solely. That recent moisture is definitely from the vapor blaster. Probably, I don't know, half of a teaspoon. Set that cover aside. We got one more cover. It's the big cover. And then our little engine's just gonna go ahead and hang out on the engine stand until all this stuff comes back. Hoping I can pull all this off with the water pump still attached. Doesn't look like it's in a position where there'd be any through bolts that go all the way through to the main crankcase. That could be one. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was a long one. Oh, we're free though. A little bit of bleeding going on down there. So I'm really digging that removable oil pan on this engine stand right now. Now when it comes to figuring out where these bolts go, it's usually pretty obvious with a little bit of trial and error once you finally reassemble the stuff. But if you want, I just found this old shoebox lid off the box of my wife's shoes out there in the recycler bin. You can take a Sharpie and a piece of cardboard and do your best Picasso of the cases, and see, kind of angles down, goes under, starts to hit the clutch, does a sharp upcut there, and then we got like the Kickstarter boss going on. So you can actually go ahead and mark where the bolts are, and then as you pull these out, there's a little hook right there for the clutch cable, a little reference. We can do the oil drain right there, or oil fill. Bolt there on one side of it, bolt on the other side, and so on and so forth. You can actually pull these bolts out and then push them through the cardboard and just let this thing hang out somewhere. If you need a reference, this is a great way to do it. I may as well show you all the way. Just get a screwdriver, something, whatever. Pop some holes on all your little bolt locations there, and then just start running these guys in there, and they will be there when you need them, so long as your wife doesn't return her shoes. All right, let's pull this sucker all the way off. Hopefully nothing come flying out at us. Nice clean extraction there. Nice and clean in there. I like it. Gonna need to order some new gaskets. This primary clutch cover gasket, all the power valve gaskets. This one, the head gasket, it's not a double O-ring style like say a YZ250 or a modern two-stroke. This is more like the older CR250 one. where it's actually a plate, and you can't buy them anymore. So I'm a little worried. It looks like the RMX uses one that's similar. I don't know if they use the same head, so that's going to be my next spot to check. But everything else I was able to find online, so that's pretty cool. How trippy is that? This big old slot in the end of the crankshaft here that turns the water pump. You don't see that anymore. Everything's nice and clean though. No tranny teeth hanging out or ball bearings in the bottom of the cases. That's always a good sign. So other than a little bit of cleaning, guys, we are pretty much ready to take our frame, radiators, spring, power valve covers, carb lid, engine covers down to Dean at Fast Blast and Coat. He can get to work, and once he's done, all this stuff's gonna start going back together. Double R is back in the house. I haven't seen you in a couple days, man. You had a little racing incident?
Just a little one. We went out and won a championship, and then brought home some road rash in the end.
Let's see it. So my man he's on his KX500. You guys know he's an animal.
Look
and he had a little yeah, it's full of fluid. It's pretty gross, I gotta be honest. What was that, a CRF 250 or a 450 that you had a little debacle with?
I don't know, it was a big red missile.
Yeah, a red rocket.
Big red rocket.
Well, I'm glad to see you stand, and oh, we got you some shop attire. You got some new shirts, some mXrevival shirts.
Swag.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, that one's that's the OGT, just a whatever, something for the shop, something to get grease on.
Oh yeah.
Not too bad. What else you got in there? I think the other one's a squad tee, huh? Oh yeah, you're looking fresh. You're looking fresh. I still need to add some decal works to that here pretty soon. Make a little web edit. I like that shirt a lot. Well, we got some parts ready for our boy Dean at Fast Blast. Got a nice little itemized list going on. Some radiators, clutch cover, stator cover, spring, carb lid, water pump stuff. This was fun to get the arm out of. Yeah, exactly. Got some frames ready. Yeah, man, we got some helicoils in here in this episode. Fixed up all the threads, got that broken bolt out, did another heli, and
did some surgery.
Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. So that thing's ready. We got the peg holes drilled. They're bigger for the bigger pegs. So races are out. That thing's ready for powder coat. What do you make of all this?
You really know how to drill a good peg hole, huh?
You should see me go. Yeah, it may not be long, but it sure is skinny. All right, let's get this stuff over to Dino. You've never been in the moto van, huh? No? Yeah, well, what happens in there stays in there. It's like Vegas.
Except chlamydia.
Ain't it just like the damn landscaper to come screw up your little takes and your filming?
You're like, hey, sir, can I mow your lawn now?
All right, we are off. And I must say, that is one nice pair of Suzukis right there, boy. Let me get you on one of them.
I love the RMs. Brings me back to my mini bike days.
You rode a Suzuki when you were a pup?
Yeah, I was on American Suzuki back in the day.
Okay.
I was on 85s.
Nice.
I was on that program for like 3 years.
Yeah, that was they had a pretty good deal going for people back then, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, the contingency was good. Why they paid it out?
Yeah, so that dried out. Don't do that anymore.
No, when they went bankrupt the first time, unfortunately that washed up.
Yeah, man, all that R&D into electric start really put a hamper in things.
Thanks a lot, Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah, we need Ricky back. I heard a rumor, which actually could legit hold weight, just based off who told me about it, but I heard Suzuki had electric start ready to go when James was on the bike, and James' father refused and said, "You're not putting my kid on a bike with an e-start or vice versa, e-start on a bike with my kid." And I don't know, and I never really will. It could be total BS, but based off who I heard it from, I would definitely trust the source. And not only that, Suzuki always has had the first thing, whatever it is, fuel injection, but they had bad cases. The cases were cracking and it caused a massive recall in 08 that went all the way to 09. That screwed them. The body styles have always been way ahead of their time, 01 through 08 on the two strokes. In my opinion, I think the 08 through 17, that's still a sick body style. The new one's a sick body style. I'm not getting an E-Start, you hear me? If they come out with one, sure, but otherwise, just, you know, use your leg like a man. All right, so it's episode 4. We're finally headed over to Dean at Fast Blast. Really excited to see what he does with our stuff. And you've used Dean in the past, yeah?
Oh yeah. I had Dean do my frame on the 500 and the Cerakoting.
Yeah, he did your fork tubes, right?
And
like
my
a
fork
copper
tubes
color,
and
like
my shock body.
Here we are. All right, we are here at Fast Blast and Coat. Dean is actually not here, so we're just gonna drop this stuff off. And you guys will get to see it and meet Dean when we come back. All righty, brother, thank you.
Yeah, sure. You guys have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Hey, I found a stock clutch.
All right, bummer you guys didn't get to meet Dean this time, but I promise when we pick him up, all the parts, you'll get to meet him. He's a great dude.
All right, everybody, I really hope you enjoyed episode 4. We'll probably have a little gap or a break in this video series while our parts are out getting coated. And so, like I said, I'm gonna try and finish building the shop here so I can take you guys on a tour. That might be next weekend's video. I am really excited about this. I'm so done moving. I'm ready to just kick some ass in here. I also can't wait to show you the floors. We did something really special in here and they look amazing. They kind of make the space. And so in the meantime, if you guys would like to get caught up with the rest of this build series, you can check out the entire playlist right here. Everything from the first ride, all the teardowns, you name it, it's all there. And until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. Shred safe, and I will see you next weekend.